Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Never Loses an episode of the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. I know that it's becoming grating to hear me say that, but we've won every run in which we've said that that's the case, so I don't want to stop now. C8C8GFSV. Good speed. Good damage. The rate of fire leaves a little bit to be desired. Oh! Ho, ho, ho. Little scary. This run has what it takes. This is like a typical NHL prospect. You know, a first rounder. It's not Connor McDavid. Not all the stats are killing it right off the bat. But it's not Austin Matthews. It's not Patrick Laine. It's probably not even Jesse Puljujarvi. Excuse me. You kiss your mother with that mouth? But this is like, no, I can't get to it. You know what? Peep this real quick, because, like, life comes at you fast. We've made some mistakes here early. Whoa! Everything is coming up roses. I really want Tarot Cloth, but I also really want this, so we're going to compromise. A little spotty with the way that we were using our resources here early, but it's for a good reason. Like, we want to ensure survival, and then everything else will fall into place. Wow, we got a good item and a good trinket right off the bat. See ya! I got trapped. Thank you, teleport. Anyway, man, the first minute of this has been crazy. You know, we're in the NHL Combine right now. You know who we are? We're 18-year-old Sam Bennett, currently on the Calgary Flames. Sorry, Calgary. Great prospect coming out of Kingston, Ontario. Good old Terrier boy. Unfortunately, he goes to the Combine. My dude puts down a single pull-up. Yeah, he's sick. He's got gastroenteritis or something, but it leaves a little bit to be desired. You know, that one pull-up. Wow, you are just bad right now. That one pull-up, that's like our damage stat right now. Or sorry, our rate of fire stat right now. It's just something to be a little bit concerned about. But as long as we can demonstrate, you know, we still got that athletic physicality that's necessary to have a career up in this echelon of the business, nothing to worry about. It's not like they're ever going to do a pull-up contest on the ice, and you know what? By all accounts, Sam Bennett been relatively good, instrumental in, I hate to say it, but instrumental in Vancouver's defeat at the hands of Calgary in the 2014-2015 NHL playoffs in the first round, only to get, you know, decimated by the Anaheim Ducks in the second round. I had to put that in there because, I mean, it's not like you won the cup that year or anything. Don't get cocky, kid. Keep moving. I would very much like to get to that bomb. This first floor has been incredibly good for us. Really, extremely lucky. We could have died on this floor. If it weren't for the fact that I have already committed to the fact that we're never going to die again, we could have died on this floor. I'm trying not to tunnel vision on Tarot Cloth. I would really like it. I really would. We don't need it necessarily. You think I can cheat the system here? I don't know. I'm scared. Let's see what we get here. Little Horn is killable without using a bomb. Of course, we're going to get a little bit of money out of Head of the Keeper. This is going to take us to 9 cents. There's no way to get a guaranteed 6 cents yet. So I'm hoping... I mean, okay, now we need a guaranteed 5 cents, which, if you blow up a donation machine, you're reasonably likely to get. We don't need to do that one. We could do the one in the shop and also blow up the shopkeeper at the same time. I do think, with us already having a Spirit Heart... Yeah, that's fine. With us already having a Spirit Heart, we're probably content to get Tarot Cloth instead of going for the Tinted Rock. If it had a small rock... I would rather get that, but, you know, if we're playing the odds, I think this is fine. And again, I did use a bomb there. I was trying to get to that Tinted Rock. Lord knows it didn't happen. Please, God. 2 cents. 2 of diamonds. Oh, you wouldn't. And yet you have. So, I don't know if we can generate. Let's go. So worth it. I don't know if you can generate coins off of non-enemies, or at least I didn't until a moment ago. Now, obviously, I got a pretty good idea of it. That worked out. I really think that in terms of, like, following the Isaac flowchart, we did our job there. We didn't buy what looked like it could have easily been an ace of hearts or something like that right off the bat, hoping it was a two of diamonds. Sure, it did end up being a two of diamonds, but, you know, we went through all the fail-safes and the last one caught us. Let's be happy. So I'm going to teleport, and I like this. Speed is still a pretty important part of our run here. Next thing to get is still, like, rate of fire would be huge. I wouldn't mind getting some bombs. And there we go. Ba 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 bombs. Ba 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 ba. You get the general idea. Let's go hunt. That was so stupid. These big rooms because we have a double chariot card. So highly not necessary, but at the same time I do hate that room, so I consider it a decent use of our resources. Well worth it. We might even be able to make our shop worthwhile. I don't want to teleport everywhere, even though it probably is, like, in like a game theory sense, the right thing to do. Because if we teleport everywhere, we won't ever have to use keys. Or we'll rarely have to use keys, but it's kind of unexpedited. I'm happy we got this run under control. Now, I don't want you to think that this was ever really a difficult run. And I mean, it still might become a difficult run. We have no idea, right? Please, God. I just want to explore down here. That's why we shouldn't teleport. We get stuck on that room from time to time. But I played a little wonky at the start of the game. It had me almost doubting myself. If I didn't have an unhealthy degree of self-confidence in the Isaac department, I don't know. Could have found myself barking up the wrong tree. Probably want to go to our shop. Actually, for a single bomb, I don't like it. Not yet. For a single bomb guaranteed, I should say. I want to keep teleport. I think the gift... Oh, I really didn't expect you to be the right path here. In fact, now I'm throwing like all into a tizzy. Oh. Let's, because teleport's useless right now, this is like the ideal setup for this play. We're going to use this to tackle our guaranteed deal with the devil and get a free deal with the devil item. For the most part, I think it's kind of a waste to use the gift, but this is a situation not altogether rare, but it's a less common situation where I think it's definitely a very good choice for us. And we could be off to the races here. Real happy with how this one looks. Dude, I've taken probably more damage than I take in like 80% of my runs on the first two floors. I'm trying to phrase that unambiguously. If you look at the damage I take on the first two floors, this run has got to be in like the worst 20 percentile. We're taking way too much damage. And yet here we are with our HP going so strong. It's like, it really highlights the inequality of Isaac life. It's not fair. You know, some runs you get hit once, you're dead. Some runs you can get hit 8 times and you're sitting pretty, wondering what the deal with the devil's gonna hold. So the rate of fire there is amazing. We got a free lump of coal, which is actually totally fine. Sin robes, and then dark bum as well. I like it. Go grab these. We don't need the spirit hearts yet. Like, I'm not really too perturbed about the whole situation, to be honest with you. But it's a really, really good start. I think we should be able to teleport out of the boss trap room after opening a single chest. So let's go. I don't want to do this room anymore. Tyrone, can you just grandfather me into the program that doesn't have to do that room anymore? Well, sack of pennies is really good. For a single key, at least. Not the kind of item you want to see in your item room most of the time, which is technically a single key, but there's a greater opportunity cost because it's your only item on the floor, but I digress. And there is something to be said about, oh, thank you. About maybe taking Bob's Rotten Head for some explosive damage, but the utility from teleport is good enough. Alrighty. Speaking of which, don't really want to do this room without a teleport already ready. It's kind of wasting the resources we have. So we usually take stock of our run around this point. Great damage, great speed, great rate of fire. HP's good. Spacebar item is fine. Tactical. espionage action. Not bad. I feel like that's a secret room directly above us, but I'm not willing to stake a bomb at it to see. Plus, deal with the devil precedent, and honestly, like, our first deals with the devil were good. Plus, a guppy item that I would describe as free. On a functional level, at least looking good, dude. I'm a happy camper. I'm trying not to... Like, the whole I'm never gonna lose at Isaac again thing, I want to let you know. At the risk of, like, the Peter Panning the magic off right now, can you use Peter Pan as a verb like that? I'm gonna use it as a verb, okay? The risk of the magic dissipating, it's kind of a joke, you know? I know that there's probably a non-zero chance that at some point in my life I will lose at Isaac again. Maybe I'll never lose again. I mean, it is possible. I mean, I'd say that's probably the more likely outcome, but you gotta accept that when you're in this line of work, you know, stuff like that can happen. Things can go wrong, and it's the way the cookie crumbles. But I think we've been playing pretty well recently, and it's just, I don't believe in the power of, like, an affirmation necessarily or anything like that, but I think starting each episode by saying, I'm gonna win, maybe it's had a subtle impact. My play hasn't been perfect, but we've managed to foster some, like a mama bird. We've taken some runs that were fledgling, and we taught them how to fly, baby. And I'm hoping that we're going to do the same thing here. That reminds me, I had a question for you out there in Isaac Land. At what age, what do you think is the normal age for someone to learn how to ride a bicycle? No training wheels. Like, you learn how to ride a bike, but then to learn how to ride a bike without training wheels. Because I'll admit, I'm a late bloomer. This is the kind of thing I remember having, like, anxiety about when I was 11. When I was 10, I didn't know how to swim, and I didn't know how to bike. I was a late bloomer there. I was too focused on reading books like some kind of loser. If I ever found myself in an emergency triathlon situation, I would have been screwed, dude. But, you know, eventually I just said, like, enough is enough. I gotta learn these. These are semi-essential skills, especially for a kid who lives out in the country. Riding a bike's important. Swimming, you know, it would just be nice to not feel like I might be dying every time I end up in the water. You're gonna give me sack of sacks? It's very generous. Are you sure? Lucky us. Let's go. Yeah, we don't want to hit our shop. I mean, we do, but we don't have the coins. Or we don't have the keys, I should say. So I might have been 12 when I learned to ride a bike without training wheels. And I know that that's a little on the late side. What do you think's an average? Some of you out there are probably thinking, I don't know how to ride a bike even now. I gotta tell you, you know, you might live in a driving city and that's fine. Riding a bike is pretty cool. It's exercise that's also adventure, that's also meditation. You know, I know it sounds like a little bit up its own butt. Don't let the cyclists you see on the road make you think that all cyclists are like that. Because I live in a city that is extremely cyclist friendly and it's beautiful. It's a lovely experience, especially when you're cycling. But when you're dealing with cyclists, sometimes it's a little annoying. And even just saying that is gonna, you know, not everybody's gonna be super pleased with me for saying that. And I'm just leveling with you, okay? As someone who's, you know, bikes a reasonable amount, a lot of cyclists take liberties with the rules of the road that they would be mad if motorists did. And they pass it off with some sort of justification like, well, you're in a 2-ton metal coffin and I'm on a 60-pound, you know, Huffy, so what do you expect? Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong in that sense, but that's all the more reason to follow the rules of the road, you know, so that if there's an accident, it's like, at least you attempted to prevent it, you know what I mean? My thoughts got muddied there. Mom's bottle of pills. I shouldn't be going for this, but I'm going for this. Because we have strength active right now, so it seems like the right time. All I mean is, like, you know, even when I was biking, I would get mad at other cyclists sometimes. Not all of them, admittedly, not all of them. But, you know, you'd see a cyclist, like, do a rolling stop, and then a car that got to the stop sign before them on the other side of the intersection has to wait for them to pass through, and you're like, well, that's, like, illegal? You don't get to go first just because you're a bike. It's like you follow the same rules as the cars. Or like I've been buzzed on the sidewalk all the time by cyclists, and I'm like, we have bike lanes. It's like in any other city you might have an excuse, but here there's bike lanes everywhere. If you don't feel safe on the bike lanes, think about how the pedestrians feel on the sidewalks. Anyway, all I'm saying is, don't let bad cyclists on the road give you a good excuse to never learn how to cycle if you've never done it before. I don't know if it's a valuable life skill. You could reasonably live your entire life without having to ride a bike, probably, but it's okay. I actually think I came up with a great idea for a business, and this is one of the few times that I'm going to tell it to you tongue-in-cheek. I'm not protective about any of my business ideas because I'm aware of the fact that ideas are cheap, and also most of my ideas are genuinely just kind of not good. Some of them might be gold, though. I still think the whole mouth toothbrush, where you just bite into like a orthodontically molded to your mouth toothbrush and then like wiggle it up and down a couple times, I still think that's gold. Less so is, and you can see a recurring theme here, the mask you put on that shaves your whole face at once. I'll admit, it seems a little risky. We're gonna have trouble getting FAA approval for that. But here's an idea I had. It was lessons. Like adulting lessons for millennials, but it's really for anybody, but the demo is millennials. And it's not meant to be insulting to what is a generation that I'm a part of, or exploitative even. But I feel like there's a lot of things, you know, in my childhood I missed out on because I had kind of a cushy childhood that would be useful for me now. Like if there was, what if there was like a weekend class you could do, and maybe there is actually, and I'm being ignorant to that, but what if there was a weekend class you could do, and it was like, in this class, you're gonna learn how to change a tire on your car. I could learn how to do so on the internet, probably, but, you know, I'd rather have some guidance, because it seems, ooh, let's go. I'd rather have some guidance, because, you know, if I get my car up on a jack or something like that, and it falls on me, I'm gonna be pretty cheesed, and also probably dead. Tie a tie, you can learn that one on the internet. That one doesn't count. But like, you know, change your own oil. It doesn't all have to be car maintenance. Change your own oil. Are you dropping? No. Where are we dropping, boys? Change your oil, change a tire, change your windshield wiper fluid. Stuff like that. Other adult things like, I don't know. Even like cooking lessons probably exist, but for people that didn't, you know, maybe they order DoorDash twice a day, just hypothetically throwing that out there. What about a lesson that was like, hey, no judgment. You've never used your oven before. We'll teach you how. You could probably learn this on the internet, but I think that there might be a market, by probably, I mean definitely, you could use the internet. But there could be a market for stuff like that. Like, ooh, is this Depths 2? It's Depths 1. Dude, I'm gonna do it, because we can make boss rush here. You know, how to build things. Like, I would totally do, and we live fairly close to a community center. I should just look into this. I'm always such a nerd. Like, whenever I'm at our community center and I look at the courses, admittedly, the courses are like, you know, Rumba for seniors. And I'm like, I don't think that really applies. I always look and see, like, maybe the dude who invented Hootsuite is teaching, like, an advanced React course. Literally never gonna happen. But anyway. How about a class that's like, hey, we're making a birdhouse? I would totally do. I feel like when I was a kid, I wasn't good at building stuff with my hands, so I opted out of it whenever given the opportunity, and society let me down. It's my own fault. I'll take ownership for it. But society let me down by allowing me to opt out of that stuff instead of saying, nah, these are like base level life skills. And now that I'm an adult, I wanna know them, but it's hard to do so. Even though there's an incredible dissemination of dissemination of information on the internet, I should say. You know, I'd like to learn them from an instructor who's knowledgeable, like a surrogate father. I'm not gonna set it up. It seems like a lot of work. I'm just saying, you know, if that sort of business exists, let me know. I think it's a cool idea. Now, let me know what all the problems with it are. Sure. We have enough familiars that maybe there's something to this right now. And again, this is very much not like a, well, the generation that got participation trophies doesn't know how to open a jar of pickles. It's not like that. It's about, you know, I don't know about you. I love my family, sincerely. And they did a fantastic job raising me. Unlike so many other YouTubers, I find myself not getting in controversy on a regular basis. Not tweeting... Like, when I tweet a lot of dumb stuff, but it's always, like, completely self-aware. And you know, I'm thankful for my lot in life without being, overly sentimental to the point of it being awkward. I'm grounded. I mean that sincerely. Like, it sounds like tooting my own horn, but they must have done something right, because I think, personally, I turned out okay. Relatively well-balanced life. Not a bad adult. But, definitely, they let me get away with not being handy. You know, because I was book smart. They're like, he doesn't need to do shop class, just put him in the computer class instead. He doesn't, you know, don't make him do chores, he's doing his homework instead. It would have been way more valuable to get some gardening experience, you know, once every 3 months probably, than to do the same multiplication tables 100 times and commit them to memory, you know? I know, and a lull NA education, I'm just saying. I think there's a place for that in, like adult shop class. Is if I had to distill it down to an elevator pitch. I didn't come into this video with an elevator pitch. I've constructed it on the fly. Adult shop class. I'm not saying it's gonna be a unicorn, a $1 billion valuation, thanks to Kevin O'Leary. I'm just saying, don't you think there's a little mustard on this idea? What is this? Answers. I think I'm going to ignore Boss Rush for the possibility of getting to our item room instead. I wanted to do Boss Rush, but things became tougher. Would you do adult shop class? I don't need 50% of people to say yes. If like 5% of people said, yeah, if, you know, they were reasonably priced and, you know, convenient weekend or evening hours, I would do an adult shop class. Dude, I would totally sign up. Does adult shop class exist? Okay, retroactively I decided if you take my idea, I'm gonna sue you, so don't do it. Dad's key. Trash item. Give me Guppy's head. We fought Mega Satan like 100 times in a row recently, so I don't feel bad about this. We're Guppy, so I respect the reroll. Awaz. Answers. Awaz. Answers. Would you... Oh, we got the same thing. Oh, yeah, I guess we might as well. That's what I get for saying it's a trash item. Now we're stuck with it, but... I think that idea could work. That's all I'm saying. I think our generation, by the way, is so amazing at some other things. Like, people are always so down... Well, not people. In fact, I think it's kind of blown out of proportion, but... You know, definitely, like... My parents' generation... I think they harbor the idea that people of my generation, you know... Pardon me, a little coffee burp. Entitled, a little spoiled... Overly sensitive, you know, weak to, what's the word? Low, like, intestinal fortitude, poor ability to suck it up. I don't think much of that is true, to be honest with you. But whenever I hear about, like, any complaints about millennials, I go, well, you know what? Just fix your own computer. My parents are pretty good about it. They do the thing now, where, like, they'll talk to me about, like, the youth these days. And it makes it sound like they're 100 years old. They're not, but they'll talk to me about the youth these days, and they go, we're not talking about your generation. We're talking about the one after you. And I'm like, I don't know. I think because I'm a citizen of the internet, my generation is the generation after me. But I always think about the number of times, you know, I had to... when I worked at, like, an office, and my job had nothing to do with computers, and, you know, just because I was, like, a 22-year-old guy, 50-year-olds would call me over and be like, what's wrong with my computer? And I'm like, you see, that's your problem right there. You installed 400 spyware toolbars, you know, because you clicked the big red download button instead of recognizing that's an ad because your internet literacy is, like, not where it needs to be. We all gotta work together on this planet, is what I'm trying to say, alright? Plus, you should be loving millennials. We're doing planet Earth a great favor. We're killing Applebee's. Fabric softener, that was a big one. You're not in the millennial Discord where you coordinate on all the products that we plan to destroy? I'm just saying, we're coming for you, Buffalo Wild Wings. Do we have... No, we've lost Hive Mind. That's right. So we don't need to go there, because we have... we got Guppy Transformation already, so I don't know what I'd even be looking for out of that room that provides me with any benefit. You know when I'm gonna reach, like, peak cynicism? Is when the millennial generation hates whatever generation comes, like, 3 generations after millennials. That's when I'm gonna be like, you don't remember the Business Week articles? You don't remember how we couldn't buy houses because we were eating too much avocados, even though when you crunch the numbers, you'd have to forego eating like more avocados than have ever been grown in the Mexican province of Oaxaca to be able to afford a house? Well, I didn't really run the numbers, but the sentiment of the article remains the same. Yeah, whatever. I don't know where I'm going with this. All I'm trying to say is, okay, shop class for adults. Now, I've backed myself into a corner here, cognitively speaking, because I just said we fought Mega Satan so much recently that I don't need to take Dad's key. But then I'm going to take Tammy's head, despite the fact that we've taken Tammy's head on myriad occasion in the past, especially recently. What's the difference? Well, the difference is that Tammy's head is fun and good, and Mega Satan is, like, optional and like, decent. It's not necessarily bad. I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I mean, we're not talking about the Hush here. But, not my idea of, I resent having to use my spacebar exclusively to fight a special boss we fought 500 times in the past. See, that's a very erudite way to explain it. Hear me out here. You're a 50-year-old, you're watching this video, you're saying, hey, how do I get involved in that shop class for millennials? I got an idea for us, okay? You, if you have shop experience, go to your community center, start offering a class that's like shop class for millennials. I'll go, and I apologize for saying the S word here, because a 50-year-old is not a senior citizen, but you get the idea. I'll start offering like a basic programming for seniors class, because I really think, and this is going to get a little DAE, we need to swap a little bit. Young people, myself, I'll only speak for myself. While I'm young, should be doing more stuff with my hands. You know, they might not, I might not be able to be active physically forever in my life. You know, I should be more useful in the physical prime of my life, as sad as that is to say, when I look at myself in the mirror. He laughs because it's true. You know, it's a good idea to stay physically active and also, you know, useful to both society and my wife when we're building IKEA furniture. Which technically you don't need much shop experience for, but I'm starting from like page freaking 0 here. And then seniors should be doing more programming. It's a crossword puzzle. It's a good way to stay mentally sharp. And you know, it's the kind of thing you can be productive at and invest a lot of time. Like, it's a time sink that you can feel productive at if you're lucky enough to also be retired, you know? Now, mind you, I don't really want to teach, not that I'm qualified to begin with. You know, I think I am qualified to teach a programming class to senior citizens. Not to assume that they're dumb, but for people coming with, like, literally programming experience and running, like, a very slow curriculum, it's, you know, what are you going to cover? You know, week 1 is, like, here's what an IDE is, go download, like, Visual Studio Code or something like that. Week 2 would be like, this is a string, and then, you know, you'd be fielding like the same 10 questions over and over. Yeah, oh, well, you forgot the quotation marks. Well, you see, semicolon is not required, but at the same time, you know, you should probably use it for a structure situation. When you get into industrial, right, that's probably not going to happen, fair enough. Anyway. You're gonna, by the final class is like, you know, the exam is write a for loop or something like that, and that's enough. That's enough to be useful. It's like the same with shop, dude. It's not like they're gonna be like the final exam is build a freaking armoire. It's gonna be like make a birdhouse. Congrats, here's a certificate. We need to do like an invention exchange, like Mystery Science Theater 3000. I need a 50-year-old shop instructor to teach me basic woodworking skills, and I'll teach computer literacy to him or her. That's what we need. We need to rebuild a sense of community. It's like a language exchange. It's like Duolingo, but for, not for foreign languages, for skills. And unlike most in-person language exchanges, it's not an excuse to date. That's a joke for all my ESL friends out there, whether learning or teaching. Money equals power. Oh, Hashi. The joke there is that when you're, well, at least when I was in Korea, and I never did a language exchange. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I had no desire to learn Korean, because after I'd been in Korea for like 6 weeks, I was like, I think I'm just gonna leave when my contract's over. Either way, it'd always be like when when an English speaker decides they're gonna be there for like more than a couple of years, they're like, I'm gonna learn Korean, but I don't want to spend any money, so I'm gonna like get coffee with people who want to learn English, and then you're like, okay, that seems cool, and then a week later you're like, I'm dating my language exchange partner. It was like 95% guaranteed. I'm telling you, it is Tinder for linguophiles. Help. Okay. No, you don't need to cry for help on this run. Who are you, Chris Perillo? I know this show's called Call for Help. We're completely... I mean, we got 10 lives. It means we got 9 basic lives, and then one of these extra lives is going to be like Onk, Tammy's head. Can't see what it is yet. Ooh, another 9 lives? I don't think so, because I murdered you first. Remember when I said I was going to kill you last? Dude, I watched Terminator 3 on TV this weekend, and you're going to get a rare crow-eating segment from Northern Lion here. I don't think eyeball tears are that good, but it'll be fun regardless. I have long been of the opinion that Terminator 3 is not a good movie, but is needlessly hated by fans of the Terminator series. People will say things like Terminator Salvation is bad, but at least it's not Terminator 3. When I saw Terminator 3, admittedly I was like 14, I saw it in maybe 15. I saw it in theaters, and I wasn't like, this is amazing. I was like, that's a fun action movie. It's like not nearly as good as T1 or T2, but it's not a terrible movie by any stretch of the imagination. I've been of the opinion that people, kind of like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where people like the only thing worse than like a bad movie is a movie that plays off of an existing franchise and tries to be like, how do you do, fellow kids, or something, you know? And I thought that the movie was unfairly maligned. I watched 2/3 of Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines on television this weekend, and I was wrong. That movie is bad. I still think Terminator Salvation is worse, because Terminator Salvation commits my cardinal sin of bad movies, which is that it's just boring as hell. You know, I'm just gonna blow you up. But that movie, T3, is not good. That wasn't me. That was oh, Austin's home. Borker, turn around so I can see that sexy dog go bark, bark, bark. Okay, we win. Fun run. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. Shop Class for Adults. Bank it. I'll see you next time.